I get some version of this message constantly from viewers on this channel. It reads, I'm just getting started and I bought a laser and I made the thing everyone else is making on this machine, and no matter what I try, it's just not selling. What am I doing wrong? The most important thing to understand here is that it's not a skill problem. Instead, it's a one-tool problem. And it happens to almost every maker who's starting with a hobby or side hustle. Now look at this gamer's box. I've sold a ton of these for some genuinely exceptional profit, and when you look at this, you should be asking one single question. How do you think I could make this with just one tool? The short answer is, I can't. In fact, this took at least 7 tools, and I want to focus on these rather than the finished products so you can better understand how the maker business works and what tools you might want to put on your long-term budget. So here's what happens. You buy a great tool, a laser, a CNC, maybe a UV printer, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. And you can create some cool things with it. But everything you make can literally be made by anyone else who owns that same machine, just by running the same settings off the same design files. There's no moat to cross here. There isn't anything unique that your product has that makes a customer want to buy from you instead of the next person with the identical setup. And if you've ever frequented a weekend craft market, you'll understand what I mean, because there's rows of people making the same things. The way to stand out is to show customers that you can do things most other makers can't, because they're just not equipped to do it. Like that gamer's box I showed. Because it required mastery of multiple tools, fewer people are able to compete with me on it. So rather than focus on what I made here, I thought I'd show you the tools that I used to make it instead. And because I understand that everybody has a spending limit, I'll also highlight cheaper alternatives where I can. So let me break down all 7 tools that I actually use to make this product, and I'll start with one that nobody actually ever puts on a highlight reel. The first tool, and honestly the least glamorous one, is my drum sander. Its sole purpose is to take some rough board, make it flat, and exactly 20 millimeters thick. Now, nobody's going to be excited to do a bunch of sanding, of course, but if you skip this step, every other tool downstream is going to make you suffer one way or another. A basic drum sander like this runs anywhere from $400 to $2,000, depending on the width you need. Mine is on the upper end of that range, just so you know. Now, if it's not in your budget yet, to get a drum sander, you don't really need this tool at all to get started. You can buy your hardwood pre-surfaced from a supplier usually, and you can skip this entire step for a few cents a board foot if you're lucky. Or if you already own a planer or a hand planer, you can flatten this the old-fashioned way. It takes a little longer, of course, but it's costing you time, not money. Once the material is flat, it goes on the CNC, which is tool number 2. This is the machine that actually creates the design. It makes those dice trays and all the other compartment shapes for both halves of the box. This is also the step where the one-tool argument becomes painfully obvious, because as awesome as a CNC is, it just doesn't make sellable projects on its own. It makes rough-cut shapes that still need 5 other tools before anyone's actually going to pay for them. Okay, hold on to your hats, because I'll tell you that a Onefinity CNC like mine will run you in the $5,000 to $6,000 range, but for smaller projects like these player boxes, you can certainly find smaller and definitely cheaper CNCs starting around 10% of that price. If a CNC is a stretch right now, though, you can rough these boxes out, both halves, with a template and a plunge router. It's exactly how these boxes would have been made decades before CNCs were even available. It'll cost you more time and your tolerances may not be quite as tight, but the box will still come out in a reasonable form. I've put tools 3 and 4 together because they're actually really closely related. They're the cheapest tools in this video, and it's really worth saying out loud, because a palm sander and a trim router combined will cost you somewhere around $100 to $200. But if you're working with wood on a regular basis, they're honestly some of the first tools you should own. The goal here is to get our box product ready for finishing, and this is mostly done by hand, or at least with tools that you hold in your hand. The first thing I'm going to do is use a 1/8 roundover bit on the trim router to put a curve on those sharp edges of the box, and that's just a quick run around the outside on the top and bottom pieces. Then I'm going to use the palm sander to get rid of any CNC tool marks or remove any roughness in the wood. Now the CNC actually does a decent job ahead of time, so I'll typically start with 120 grit sandpaper and I'll work my way down through 220 and 320. But before I'm finished the box, I'll usually also spray it with just light water to raise the grain, and then I'll quickly resand with 320 grit paper. When the player box is ready for finishing, I'm going to apply 2 coats of tung oil followed by 3 coats of hand rub polyacrylic, and then I'm going to hand sand it with 800 grit paper in between just to take off any bumps. Most of the things you do here use very simple tools. Definitely trying to find more advanced or more expensive tools isn't really going to help you here. Sometimes you really just need to do things by hand. Now for the inside of the box, and all this step actually requires is cutting some felt to match the compartments inside the box and just dropping them into place along with some double-sided tape or adhesive. It sounds simple, but doing it by hand with scissors, compartment by compartment, is genuinely going to be tedious. Tool number 5, the X-Tool P2S, cut every single piece of this in the time it would take me to explain the process, and every piece is identical. A CO2 laser like the P2S is a real investment, though. You're looking at somewhere around $4,000 to $5,000, and that's expensive. But you can still get a smaller, less powerful laser that will do this job for around $1,000. But here's the truth about this specific step. You don't really need a CO2 laser to cut felt at all. Scissors and a paper template will get you exactly the same result for free. It just costs you an evening instead of 90 seconds to get everything cut out properly. If felt lining is the only reason you'd buy a CO2 laser, then don't. Do it by hand until the rest of your business justifies the machine. But CO2 lasers are very versatile. If you think you're going to be working with wood or acrylic in the future, then you will find this type of laser can pay for itself fairly quickly. Completing the lid of the player box is what's next, and this is where tool number 6 comes in. This is the X-Tool 01 Omni UV printer, and I'm going to use it to put a full color logo straight onto the lid. This is genuinely something that you can really only do well with a UV printer, but if you don't have one, you could paint your logo on, or you could use a sticker or a decal of some sort. But a print like this full color directly on the box, well, that's really this printer's real value. All I did to make this was use some of X-Tool Studio's AI capabilities to create the logo, and then I just popped it into my workspace and configured the print as a relief image. Now, since this is a batch of boxes I'm donating for an event to support military personnel with PTSD, I'm also going to put their logo into the lower corner. Then I just need to hit the print button and start the job, and when it's finished, they look remarkable. The starting price for an X-Tool 01 Omni is right around $2,000, and it's going to be more once you add some accessories. If you're not prepared to buy a UV printer yet, then there's a workaround assuming you own one of the tools I've already mentioned here. You can engrave the logo instead of printing it in color using a CO2 laser, the one you already used to cut the felt. And if you already own one, it won't cost you any additional money. You just lose the color and you get a burned-in logo instead. Plenty of buyers that I've actually sold these player boxes to really prefer that look anyway. We're down to the last tool. Tool number 7 is the X-Tool F2 Ultra UV laser, and I'm going to use it to put my company branding on the bottom of this player box. Now, there's no denying this is an expensive machine, and I'm really not going to pretend otherwise. It's a luxury tool in this stack, but UV lasers are so useful for many types of engraving jobs that something like the F2 Ultra UV is really worth putting on your equipment wish list when you have budget for it, of course. Once again, I fired up X-Tool Studio to capture an image of the box I placed on the F2 Ultra, and with a few quick setting changes, I quickly engrave an amazing image of my company logo on the back of each box I made. Now, if a machine like this isn't in your budget, a basic vinyl decal or even a $40 branding iron is going to get you a logo on the back for pennies on the dollar. Or you could also, once again, use the X-Tool P2S or other CO2 laser to bring this logo up, but it has all the same limitations, of course, with color. You're trading a little bit of polish for a machine that costs about what a used car does, honestly. And that trade only makes sense once branding is something your business actually needs at volume. So 7 tools for 7 distinct jobs on one single project. That's why nobody's duplicating this player box with any single tool, and it's also why you don't need to buy all 7 of these at once. Start with the tools you already own, do the rest by hand, and add one machine at a time as your business actually earns support for it. That's the difference between a shop that makes lots of copyable products and one that doesn't. Tell me in the comments down below which of these 7 tools you'd add to your shop first, and feel free to tell me why. If you want the breakdown of exactly which of these tools will pay for itself the fastest, then let me know and I'll do a follow-up video. And click that subscribe button and the bell notification so you don't miss that. And in spite of all the tools I've shown here, remember, the real magic is in the maker, not the tools.